People who succeed in life are spiritual. I didn't say they are Christians. I said they are spiritual. They have a spiritual discipline. They have a spiritual life. You need to know that what happens in this world is controlled by outers. The physical world we live in is controlled by outers. If you do not have an outer, you are not heading anywhere. Success will not be your portion if you don't have an outer. Because outers speak, and outers have power to determine failure and success. Look at your neighbor, tell them it is time to have an outer. An outer that is more powerful than the outers of your neighbors. You can't be successful when you want to be like everyone else. You cannot be on the class of the winners, the successful people, when you want to be like your neighbor, when you want to please everybody. You must distinguish yourself by setting up standards that are higher than what other people have set for themselves. You can't have an excellent spirit as a believer if you are not prayerful. Jesus said to his disciples to pray lest they fall into temptation. The less you pray, the more you fall into temptation. This is why Luke chapter 18 and verse 1, Jesus spoke to them in a parable and say that men ought to pray always. Not sometimes, not when they have got problems. Men ought to pray always. What does that mean? Man needs to develop a spiritual discipline of prayer. There is nothing that is spiritual that grows to a significant level without prayer. No church has ever grown significantly without much prayer. No believer will grow spiritually without much prayer. Prayer is mandatory for your success. James says you do not have because you don't ask. Prayerlessness makes you weak. Where are our Daniels? Where are our Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Men who are upright, who walk according to the law of God. If you are going up, you cannot survive without prayer. It's impossible. A praying believer is a powerful man, and the devil hates you when you become a prayer man. But the moment you make up your mind, I am going up the ladder, I am going to connect with heaven, I am going to make Jesus my refuge, my strength, my hope, and I'm going to connect to him, the devil will hate you. And the devil will try, but he will be defeated. The one that watches over us is greater than any challenge that will ever come upon you. The problem we have is faithlessness and prayerlessness. Men ought to pray always and not lose heart. You may have been praying and given up because you thought prayer does not work. Look at your neighbor. Tell them, prayer works. And prayer and faith cannot be separated. They they work together. We pray by faith. You cannot pray any other way. So if you don't have faith, you don't have prayer. If you don't have prayer, you don't have faith. Because faith is leaning on God. Prayer is dependency. It's telling God all your cares and anxieties. All what you worry about, tell him and rest in faith. Tell him and rest in faith. Tell God what you want and rest in faith. Don't tell God and begin to help him. There are witches and sorcerers. They serve a different altar. And there are apostles and prophets and evangelists and pastors and teachers. They serve a different altar. Which altar will you take your needs? I was given a very powerful testimony, and I close with this one. One sister, you saw the people I brought here last Sunday. They had come from our center in Tala. You saw them. One of them that was here was a lady that is very new in the church. And she decided, I will never miss morning glory. Where she lives, there is no morning, there is no transport the time we pray. So she called a boda. How many of you know bodas? Okay. And made a deal with a boda that the boda guy will pick her every morning at 3:30 to take her to church for prayer. The boda guy said, 3:30? She said, yes. And you are going where? She said, to church. For what? For prayer. The boda guy said, I have got customers I pick the same time, but they don't go to church. I take them to the witch doctors. They go there before they get into their business. I take them to go to their altar, to go and sacrifice. So the man did not believe. So the first day comes to pick her, picks her, they ride to the church. They get to the gate. The lady says, drop me here, I have arrived. She walked and went into the church. The man stood there for about 10 minutes to see whether she will come out. That she was just tricking. There is a witch doctor around there. She didn't come out. So the second day, he came late to see whether it is real. 20 minutes late, the lady was walking out of her house. She had started walking to go to church. He stopped. She got on, and the man brought her to the church and said to her, now I believe that you come to church. She said, we have to make a different arrangement, because I have got other customers who I have been serving for a long time. I pick them at 3:30, and I don't want to bring you in church late. So I will be picking you first before I pick them to take them to the witch doctor. Look at your neighbor. Tell them, neighbor, life is not fair. It is for the fighters. Be a fighter and climb to your top. Make up your mind. Tell your neighbor, make up your mind. Whom will you serve?